This is week 2 of the NFL Divisional Playoff games. Today's games, you have Ravens Houston and the 49ers and the Packers playing. And in tomorrow's game, you have the Lions, Bucks, and Chiefs and Bills. And so we're going to give you our picks, and then we're going to talk about last week's performances, and we're going to get that going for you guys. So let's start our picks, Alex. Houston.
Well, I go to you. I go to I get that look here out of that league. I'm the league. We don't know put up a bit of me. That's what I call a bit of me today. How about you?
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to go with the Ravens. So I think the Ravens will defeat the Houston Texans and move on to the next round.
We got the 40 a good day today. How
Yeah.
about you?
So I'm going to pick the 49ers to move on. So I think your 2 number 1 seeds will make it to the next round.
Well, I got that it gonna be a good bit. We be looking good. And gonna put up. And we got this tomorrow. You got the Bill.
And
You got
Chiefs.
Bill actually and the Buccaneers of Detroit.
Okay.
Let's go with Buccaneers of Detroit. Then. How about you?
I'm going to go with Detroit. So I think Detroit moves on, goes to the next round, play the 49ers in the NFC Championship.
Well, give me Detroit. I believe Detroit will be able to make the championship game. And then we got the third game, the Bill, and then Kansas.
So I'm going to go with the Bills. I believe the Bills move on and play the Ravens in an AFC Championship game.
But give me it gonna be. Give me the Kansas Chiefs.
Okay.
So that now talk about that put up a big game that a lot of people can't believe a good bad game. What do you think? Uh, what good? What do you think is gonna be happening with the head coach? What do you think of the quarterback?
Well, I'm not really understanding your question. I do know that yes, last week's performance was awful by the Cowboys. Once again, another season that they go into the playoffs and eliminated and sent home. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm pretty fed up with this. Uh, Basically, I think it's all 3 assets of their organization. I think it's Jimmy Johnson, the
Mm-hmm.
ownership. I believe it's the coach, Mike McCartney, and I think it's Prescott. I think all 3 is why the team continues to fail. Um, uh, as we all know, they made an announcement. They are keeping their head coach.
Yeah, they're all.
So there are people like Stephen A. Smith who is completely upset
Yeah.
over the idea that these guys kept their head coach. I agree with him that this is insane. That it's just the same old. So Cowboys fans, if I was you guys, maybe jump off the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Strong
The,
message to the ownership there of what it is you guys are expecting. But I just at this point, um, it's just for people in the NFC East, we love it.
yeah. Yeah.
But if you're a Cowboys fan, you do not.
Yeah.
Um,
Stop.
so the young quarterback for the Packers, Love, has come a long way. He seemed like he is coming into his own here at the Packers, being that this is the first season with no Aaron Rodgers. Um, he played behind a great quarterback. So now we're starting to see the fruits of the labor there. And the head coach seems to be, he's always been a pretty decent head coach, but we needed to see how he was going to pull his team together and see how far he can take the team this year. So kudos to the Packers and their victory. So now let's talk about the Detroit Lions and the Rams. You had Matthew Stafford, who went back to Detroit for the first time to play against his team since he's been traded. He went on to win a Super Bowl his first season with the Rams. Goff is on the verge of maybe doing that his term around. So, what is your thoughts on that game? That was pretty entertaining.
Entertainment. I love those two quarterbacks. What is over? We popping up the team for many more years, but again, God is able to play the game and able to play the game. God might have a chance to go to the Super Bowl with Detroit. He bet the Super Bowl before the ground and the law.
Yes, against the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
So, as you know, Miami played the Dolphins. The Dolphins played the Chiefs. And as you can tell, the Chiefs dominated that game. Do you think the weather was a factor for Miami? I'm going to definitely say so because it was absolutely cold out there. I just did not see Miami getting into a rhythm and looking like they have been playing all season. They looked like they would just wish they were in front of an oven or something to keep themselves warm.
Well, for me, I go with that. Yeah, weather do make a difference. What is the difference? Well, again, my argument is warm and wishful being with the time. But maybe disagree with the agree. Part of it optimism. City get cold and with the time. They're almost these cats are almost to get it. But again, Captain is a good team. Over and get the play up. Mom play up. That's up. That's up football. Ain't got to put it in. And then Miami never. Well,
Well, it's
yeah.
their first. It's their real first time as that team as a unit
Yeah.
being in the playoffs,
Yeah.
compete at this level. So I suspect we'll see them back next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they will be a much dominating team. They had a chance to win their division, and Buffalo pulled that out. And I think that just came from experience from Buffalo, just dogging it out over the last few seasons. So. You had Houston and the Browns. The young quarterback seemed to really show up there. Hands down to him. If this was the regular season, he would be player of the week for me because there's no ifs buts about it. The young man came out, played well, broke some records for his organization. He made Joe Flacco look his age, and the Browns went home. So as Houston moved on to the next round. So
Well, I get it. Just like Detroit at when Detroit had this is like Detroit a great game. Just like also Memphis have also called adjustment. Did it out is adjustment. And you can head coach for a new head coach. So for me, that this game, I know this game is coming for the Browns. I don't know when, and I can put up because it's a hooper.
okay. So
Now, we
huh?
talk about the Eagles and about the
Yes.
Unborn. I like to talk about. I'm an Eagle fan. So for me, that game is awful. This game awful. I never see that game. You can put on 9 points this year. Or any year from here. I don't think can't win. Go off quarterback. Forget it. Put on 9 points for my team. That game is awful. Awful. That game was awful than the Cowboy game.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, yeah, you guys got beat up on, but the Cowboys that was like exploding because obviously the press overrated the Cowboys, their ownership overrated the Cowboys, at least before you guys even got into the postseason, right? I mean, well, not into the postseason because you guys secured that much earlier in the season. But what I'm saying is the last week you guys lost, to the New York Giants, and it was already understood that you guys were having struggles. Not like the Cowboys, where everybody was living in an unreality, world, assuming that the Cowboys was much more than what they really were. They were deceived. So the letdown for that completely different. Where I know, even though you were an Eagles fan, you kind of knew your team was struggling. You knew something was going on. You just couldn't put your finger on it. And so but now you see, now that the season's over, you had players defending your head coach. You had fans saying he sucked because your offense and your defensive coordinator left, went on to coaching jobs in the NFL for the 2023 season. Um, do you think it was just execution of plays by the players? It just wasn't executing. Do you really think that maybe you need better offense and defensive coordinators to come in, to step in, to replace the ones that were missed? I mean, what is your thoughts?
Well, that is a good question. The Eagle need a new difficult. That difficult. He got that. He got that because we are. But he got bad. He got that bad. But I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I said it's time for a new defense coordinator to be in the Eagle. Couple of years ago, we had a good defense coordinator. Yeah, he went on to coach a team, and they almost make the Eagle playoff. I said it could coach. But I knew back on the Eagle. Yeah, I think it's time for a new defense coordinator. Maybe not offense coordinator, but that would be nice.
So, do you think a Belichick coming into your organization changes things, or you think that's asking too much?
Well, that is a good question. I thought the people would be a coordinator. Or become a coordinator. I think it was because I had come or a year, or I had to add a general manager for a team. But right now, I got the remember that I come from the Panther that he got fired.
Yes.
People talk about that. People talk about he comes back to the Eagle.
Well, we have to wait and see what happens in the
For
off
offensive
season. That's for
coordinator.
sure. I think 2024 football season is going to be something to look forward to see what happens with some of these coaching jobs and to see how some of these organizations respond to some of the programs that come in from some of the new coaches once their season start. So
Well,
um, I think at this point, we're going to just move on and look forward to the NFC Championship, AFC Championship games next
I
week,
just
and
go to
who's
the
on their way to the Super Bowl. So,
Eagle. Yeah, but before we go, we got big news. The head coach, the new head coach for Gritzer, the important piece. Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations. He made it on a team that he wants to be on a team. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, we got one more week of football. One more week to the Super Bowl. See who is going to be in the Super Bowl that week. And just have fun in the football.
Yes. So.
So, people watching, people tune in, and don't forget we got a TikTok that I post regularly
Yes.
about football.
Yep.
On any sport.
So.
So
All
see
right,
you.
son.
Okay, that.
I'll see you. All right.
Okay.